was a terrible sound. What up, people? Woohoo! It's Tuesday. Kind of feels like Thursday. All in good ways, I suppose. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a super rockin' Tuesday, and it is time for our Tuesday Live. So today we are going to talk about the power of coaching. And the first thing I'm just really gonna just straight out the gate with it is that when I talk about the power of coaching, I genuinely am not I'm not coming from a place of trying to sell you coaching, right? That's not what I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it based on my personal experience and what I've discovered in working with a few different coaches and the actual like tangible and intangible results that I've experienced, right? And just those different epiphanies and things that I've gone, holy shit, like, this is amazing. And so I just want to be super clear with that, right? And I think one of the first things that, for me really just pops into the power of coaching is that we're not meant to do this thing alone. And I talk about that a lot, but we're not meant to do really anything alone. Like, we're not meant to do life alone. Not that there aren't some people that works for. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we weren't created as solitary individual creatures. There's so much interconnectedness and so many different ways of forming different families and groups and tribes and things like that. But especially within entrepreneurship and business, I get feeling like you need to figure this out all on your own. I get it because I've been it. Yeah, I've totally been there. Which, if you know me personally at all, that will not surprise you. Yeah, I am independent, sometimes to a fault, although I have been working on that a lot as I've gotten older. Um, well, and actually, too, having a broken back teaches you a whole lot about when it's smart to be independent and when it's just fucking stupid. Um, but it's also taught me just the beauty of asking for help, right? And that, again, not meant to do it all on our own. And you can. You 1,000% can. And I am not here to tell you that you can't be successful if you never hire a coach, because that's bullshit. Sure, you can be successful. It's just that the likelihood that it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer to get there with a lot more frustration and struggle and heartache, there's that piece of that puzzle to it. Sorry about my dogs in the background. Almost on cue every time. Anyway, so one of the things, like specifically, right, outside of just not having to do this shit alone, is that having a coach, and this is all under the caveat of having the right coach. And when I say the right coach, I mean the right coach for you. I think there are so many brilliant coaches out there. Not all of them are right for me, and not all of them are right for you. Yeah. But within that, when you have the right coach, one of the biggest things that they will hopefully, right, if they're a bomb ass coach, are going to do for you is it's going to be in the area of courage and confidence. That is something that a vast majority, if I dare to say all of us, struggle with when we're starting these businesses and building these businesses. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. It's a nasty little bugger. And that confidence piece, you can tell yourself to be confident all fucking day. And if that's all it took, then none of us would struggle. But unfortunately, little science here for you, our brains are not wired that way. For many different reasons. I won't go too nerdy on you. But one, I've said this before and I will always say it, your subconscious will never make you a liar. It's actually going to seek out evidence to prove you right. So if somewhere in the deep down depths you think you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you can't handle it, then your subconscious will seek out those certain experiences or moments to go, see, you're right, you can't handle it. We have to flip that script, okay? And then the other piece of that scientifically is that, again, unfortunately, our brains are a little bit wired, a little bit, not really, to see the negative or the wrong before we see the right. And we register that on a much more intense level, which actually goes all the way back to like the dawn of man. Because, you know, if you think about it, way back when, if something was even like slightly wrong, like you died. And our brains haven't necessarily all the way caught up with that. They have in so many ways, but there's still that kind of that raw, and I lost my word. Doing that a lot lately. Oh shoot, maybe carnal's not quite the right word, but anyway, just that, you know, kind of goes back to our roots. And so we're always going to see the wrong first. And when we try to substitute whatever we might be lacking confidence in, there's a couple of things that you can do to help with that. But ultimately, one of the biggest motivators and changes and shifts that can be made for you is when someone else has full faith in you. And this typically needs to be someone who's not a family member or a spouse or a brother or sister. It doesn't mean that doesn't mean something really valuable to you, but it's also really easy for your subconscious to go, yeah, but they have to say that because they're your mom. Or, well, of course they think that. They're your husband or wife, you know? And so, but when you have someone that's sitting on the other side of you that doesn't just say they believe in you, but genuinely sees your potential and your possibilities and refuses to allow you to keep blinders on that prevent you from seeing those same things, that becomes a game changer. Not to mention the fact, I don't know about you, but I know me, if my husband gives me a compliment, I'm like that quick to argue and like downplay it, which is a horrible habit, I know. But I feel like I can do that because he's my husband. I'm a lot less likely to argue with an expert sitting on the other end and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Then why the hell am I paying you? Yeah. So that objectivity comes into place. It creates a safe space for you to talk through any of your struggles. And the beautiful part about that is the more we talk about it, right? The more we name the thing, the less scary it is. And the more we begin to see, okay, like I don't love this, but now I understand that I can do X, Y, and Z to address it, right? It's not only, hey, this is a lot less scary because we brought it out to light, but now we actually have a plan to attack it. You know, and again, you're not alone. There's no judgment. And it's just someone else to help you solve the puzzle. And then the other piece of that, like kind of in the confidence realm, but not actually not really. But you also have someone who's able to zoom out. Because for us, I can't tell you how many times either I've been on the call with a client or I've been on a call with my coach and something is said. The coach says something, and the client, whether it's me or like my clients, go, holy crap, how did I not think of that? Or how did I not see that? Because we're too close. You can't see the forest for the trees. And it takes someone being able to look at it objectively and from a zoomed out perspective to see the bigger picture while still capturing the details, right? To take a step back and go, you know what I see? I actually see blah, blah, blah. Or have you thought of this? Or whatever. Rare appearance of Nala, by the way. Rare. This is our really, really old kitty. She usually just walks around the house and complains because she's old and complaining, I guess. She's sweet, but she talks a lot. And she's been in here a lot more. She's been a little more social. So I guess she just wanted to come make a rare appearance, and now she's back in the window. Yeah, so objectively, right? They can look at things objectively. I probably just gave some of you whiplash. And really be able to see things that we can't see anymore because we're too close. Yeah. And I think probably my other favorite, like the super powerful part with having a coach, and the reason I say super powerful is because each coach in their own expertise and niche is going to provide something different that they can bring to the table, a different kind of value. But all coaches across the board, I feel like, are really able to provide what we've talked about so far. And then the next piece, which is accountability. Love it or hate it, it's so crucial. And it's a necessary part of growth. We need someone most of us, at least in the beginning, and when I say beginning, I mean anything like in the first 5 years and maybe later down the road. Even if you're a self starter, even if you push yourself, there's still something about, and it typically does have to go around mindset work, right? It's not that we don't do things because we can't or we don't push ourselves. It's because we're usually battling something within our subconscious. And what we don't always realize is that whatever's happening, whatever mental state we're in, we're going to, again, create circumstances to kind of support that. So, for example, if there's someone who really struggles going live, okay? Hey, Lori. There's someone who really struggles going live, and their goal is to go live twice in that week. Hi, Daniel. So glad to see you here. Oh, and look. Oh, wait, it's a blue. This beautiful blue, right? This is from Daniel. But anyway, oh, if somebody's challenged to go like live twice a week, okay, and there is a fear there is a mindset block, then subconsciously they will create an opportunity to not do that thing. Whether it's, I just got so bogged down in calls today, or my website crashed, or I had to do this. And the accountability piece really becomes more about not did you or didn't you, it's let's talk about that. Okay, so, and it's also that person that's really gonna maybe lovingly but still hold your feet to the fire a little bit. Yeah, I had to have a little mini, normally I can't coach myself, but I had to have a mini coaching moment with myself where I just pretended I was listening to my coach. And these were her saying it, because, the reality is that I can talk about my goals all day long, but if I go, okay, am I doing everything in my power to show up as the version of me that I want to be right now, and the version of my business that I want to see? I have to get real honest and say no. And it's not because I'm laying around, putting my feet up and eating bonbons. I'm still working my ass off. But I'm making excuses to let little things slide. And I'm sorry, but that's not going to cut it. You either want something or you don't. You either follow through or you don't. And then it becomes not about the failure if you didn't follow through. That's not the focus. It's in looking at what's around that. Yeah, are there shifts or tweaks that need to be made for that to feel way more positive, way more organic, and almost, even fun? Like, hell yes, I want to do this thing, not, damn it, I have to go do this. Right? So that accountability piece is so huge. And then again, I'm going to bring back into it, it's so crucial when it's a coach, because this is someone you're paying. You're paying them for results and to help keep you accountable. If it's someone that you know and love, you can so argue with them, flip them the bird, like make all the excuses, but you're not going to do that with a coach. At least you're probably not going to do it more than once, and you definitely won't continue to do it and they'll still be your coach, right? Because if they've properly vetted their people like me, I would have already figured out that this is someone that's living at effect and not living at cause in their life. So living at cause being taking responsibility for where you are in your life, and living at effect being I am where I am in my life because of other circumstances, and I am completely out of control. But that, you're not gonna turn around and pay someone what we pay our coaches and then argue with them when they do what we're paying them for. So again, it just becomes this beautiful blend of someone who is fully supporting you. They are your biggest cheerleader. They are not only supporting you in getting from point A to point B, right? They've created a safe space for you to be open and honest and vulnerable. They're helping you create solutions, and they're helping you find your solutions on your own, but they're also going to hold you accountable. And they're going to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to get to where you said you wanted to be. And that that you are creating an opportunity to live up to the potential that they see in you. And when they see that you have the capacity to blow up and go huge and impact all these lives, and if you sit on the other end and say, that's what I want, then hell yes, we're going to take that journey with you, because we know the world needs what you have to give, and we're not going to let you settle for less unless you just don't want to do the work, right? So those are my really big pieces on just the power of coaching. And then again, the last little piece that I'll leave you guys with, the reason that I know emphatically what a good coach can do for you, not just in your business, but in your personal life as well, because everything filters, right? And that's something else we need to be keenly aware of. Things run over into other aspects of our lives. And here is a perfect example of that. I have been working on just a new level of clarity with who I serve, what their pain points are, and really honing in on just that niche and that person that I'm talking to every single time, using their language, not mine, theirs, because it's not about me, it's about them. And that this search for that clarity and decluttering, the decluttering of what's happening up here and decluttering of things that might be happening in my business, whether it's this extra strategy or process or whatever it is, right? All of a sudden, not really all of a sudden, but my husband and I started talking, and what went from there's probably a few things in our house that we need to go ahead and put up for sale because we don't use them. They could bring in some extra income and they're in great condition. What started as that has led to this full, our version of like Marie Kondoing our whole lives. Okay. Now you can see it's not like that level, but it is with the idea of if this no longer serves us, right? And if we're holding on to something because it has unique and sentimental value, then of course. But if we're just keeping it because maybe one day we'll use that thing, wear that thing, then it's got to go, right? But that started with a business mindset, and it flows over into personal life. So your personal, like your other business mindsets, like personal flows into business and back and forth, right? It's ebbing and flowing. So when you get a coach and when you start working on a lot of these things, that's why I say it affects your personal life as well. Because those things are going to flood over into other areas of your life. And again, the reason, just because I've had several coaches, but the biggest thing that I tell people is I believe in the power of coaching, and I know that it's there because I have a coach. I am a coach, but I got my own. And by the way, my coach helps me with the same things I help my clients with. So this isn't like I help clients with this and my coach only helps me with sales. Like that's not what it is. Yeah. My coach is definitely where I aspire to be, just as far as, well, there's a lot of things there. But anyway, my point is that I can't do the things that I'm doing for my clients, even though it's a zone of genius for me. It becomes second nature and it flows so easily to help them and serve them in the way that I do. I cannot then turn that inward and do it for myself. I can't. And I've tried, by the way. I don't mean this is like, I can't do it. No, like I've tried. And there are still, I guarantee you, at least once a month, there is at some point where I am talking to my coach and I giggle and I laugh to myself because I realize she's just done for me the exact same thing. And I mean like it's been the exact same sort of clarity shift or mindset shift or whatever that I just did for a client, but I couldn't see it in myself. Yeah. And Lori, I totally agree with you. Even coaches need coaches. My coach has a coach. Her coach has a coach. Like, yes. And that, again, that just goes to show you that's the power of coaching. It's not like mastering a skill and teaching others, but you can do that skill for yourself, right? It's not like if you become a professional chef and you teach others how to cook, but you can still do your own shit. Not the same. Just like we can't give ourselves therapy. Just like, I don't know how many people, this is really gonna hit home with some people. Like, because I know there's a lot of us, we know, like psychologists and psychiatrists, and I feel like those of us that know more than one or two, at least one, if not a majority, are cuckoo. These are people that help unravel other people's crazy. But they're Looney Tunes, right? Can't give yourself therapy, can't coach yourself. Lori, I love all this. Leveling up and learning. Always, always, always. Yes, that's so crucial, so key. Your coach is also going to keep you in that growth mindset. right? The fixed mindset, meaning we can't change it. Growth mindset, yes, the fuck I can. Yeah, and really looking at every experience. I don't mean being a Pollyanna and everything is great and wonderful and roses and kitties and unicorn farts, because that's bullshit. Some days fucking suck. Some, instances or situations suck. But what it does mean is we're not going to allow those things that suck and that didn't go the way we want them to be completely useless. It only becomes an actual failure if you don't learn anything. Or if you can't take a really humble step backward and go, okay, let's look at this objectively. What are the things maybe I could have done a little bit differently? Not taking responsibility for, like, if there are things you're like, no, that needed to be done, well, then stand in that truth. But it can also be that, you know what? I could have actually handled this one thing a little bit differently. Or now I know moving forward, I'm not going to do that again because it did not go so well. Yep. So, get you a coach. Yeah. And I would tell you that. I don't even, if you're like, well, I don't want to work with you. Okay. But that's fine. Go get you another coach. Right? I promise you, there's just so much value. And really, last thing I'll leave you with is that when you're investing in a coach, you guys, you're not investing in a coach. You're investing in you. And that sounds kind of cliche and salesy, I'm sure. But again, that's actually coming from my experience. Signing on to work with my coach was really scary because it was a lot more than I'd paid my previous coach. And I wasn't 1,000% sure that I could cover it each month. But those investments, they're not in my coach, they're in me, because I'm trusting myself enough to say that I'm going to do this, and not only am I going to go through this process and grow and learn, but I'm going to make it worth it. And so that's the last thing I would kind of leave you with, is that, again, it's really about, do you trust yourself enough, and are you ready to invest in yourself? Because that's what's ultimately, if you're going to do the work, that's who's going to benefit, is you. It'll be you that grows. It'll be your business that grows. And it'll be you experiencing all those positive changes and shifts. So, all right, friends, I hope you are all having a good week. Thank you so much for everyone who joined me. I love it. I love it. If you have any questions, you're watching a replay or you pop up with one later, throw it in the comments so that I can see that. And then the really last thing, even though we talked about coaching today, one of the things that I've mentioned, it's in the announcement, that I don't always do well, is I don't always do a good enough job of making sure that you people know, because you're my people, that I offer free 30-minute coaching calls. And so if that's something that you're interested in and you haven't signed up with me to do that yet, I would love for you to do that. I'm going to throw the link in the comments. That's just 30 minutes, just laser focused on what's going on with you and your business and what shifts we might be able to uncover that you can immediately implement, so that we can start getting you some results even in 30 minutes. You'd be amazed at what we can accomplish there. So this is particularly for you if you feel like, if you're struggling to dump imposter syndrome for good, not going back and forth, if you're ready to get the fuck unstuck, right? And definitely if you're ready to make more money in your business by being raw, real, and unapologetically you, right? If any of those resonate with you, we need to chat. Okay, so I'm going to throw the link in the comments. I hope to see my calendar filling up with you wonderful, fabulous people. And even if you just want to do a coaching call just so we can connect and get to know each other a little bit better, I would love nothing more. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope the rest of your week is even better, and we will chat soon. All right, lovelies. Later.